Welcome to the Degenerate Dillon podcast, where Dillon has you covered with everything from spreads to futures to prop bets. Follow him every weekday as we pick daily best bets using stats, analytics, and a little bit of luck. Now here's your host, Degenerate Dillon himself, Dillon Nelson.
How we doing, folks? It is April 1st, 2021, opening day for Major League Baseball. I'm super pumped about that. Super excited to get my Sox season underway today at 1 o'clock against the Orioles. Even though we will probably not be that great this year, we will be better than the Orioles. As long as we're not last in the division, I guess it's all right with me. We're kind of in a rebuilding year. The Blue Jays, Rays, and Yankees look like the teams that'll fight for the division. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Red Sox till I die, no matter what. But yeah, let's start off this episode with our picks from last night. We had Portland at Detroit. The line was 6.5. We liked Portland to cover that 6.5. They did. They won 124-101. We also like CJ McCollum to have 5+ assists as our prop bet in that game. He did have 5+. He had 6 assists last night. Second game of the night, Houston versus the Nets. We liked Houston to cover the 14 due to the Nets' inability to cover those big spreads. Houston did cover that spread. 108-120 was the final score, so covered it by 2 points. We like Joe Harris's total points, rebounds, and assists over 17. That covered also. Joe Harris had 28 points and 6 rebounds, so he more than covered that. He did a little bit more than what Vegas thought he would do. Third game of the night, Jazz visiting Memphis. The line was 7 in favor of the Jazz. We liked Memphis to cover the 7 here. They did cover the 7. The final score was 111-107. So they did cover the 7. We also like Ja Morant to to go over his total point prediction of 20 points. He did. He had 36 points last night. So as you can see, we are 6 of 6 on our bets from last night so far. We had Bucks visiting Staples Arena and the Lakers last night. Line was 8 in favor of the Bucks. We had the Bucks taking the line, and we liked Giannis's over of his total points prediction at 28. The Bucks did cover the line going, the final score was 112-97, so they did cover the 8 points, but Giannis only had 25 points, so he did not did not go over the 28 that was predicted. So we had a very, very good night, 7 of 8 on our bets. We made some good cash last night. Really excited about the way that we have kind of kicked off, even though that was 31st predictions and bets. I'll count it as a start to April. So good start to April for us. Today we are going to talk about baseball because it is opening day. I might get into some extra NBA action just because we had a good night last night. I might throw a couple at you. But we are going to mainly talk about baseball today, starting with the first game of the day, Blue Jays at Yankees. The line is Yankees minus 177. Pitching matchup is Hyun-Jin Ryu against Garrett Cole. Ryu is 1-2 with a 6.02 ERA against the Yankees. Cole is 3-0 and 4 starts against the Blue Jays with a 2.88 ERA. I really like this pitching matchup in favor of the Yankees. Blue Jays have new additions to the lineup, and George Springer and Marcus Semien. George Springer will start the season on the injury list, so he will not play in this game today, which makes me really, really like the Yankees even more. Yankees lineup, as most seasons, is pretty stacked with Judge and Stanton and DJ LeMahieu and etc. I mean, you could go down the line. I really like the Yankees in this matchup. My play here is the Yankees to cover the 1.5 spread at plus 115. I think that's really the play here, especially with Springer out now. I don't think this Blue Jays lineup is going to touch Garrett Cole, and Ryu doesn't have good numbers against the Yankees. So we're going to ride the Yankee train in that game, unfortunately, because we all know I'm a Red Sox fan. I do not like the Yankees. I couldn't I didn't really want to talk about the Red Sox game today because I am a Red Sox fan, but I just could not help myself. I want to talk about it. So I am going to bet this game just because it's opening day. Red Sox host the Orioles. The line is Sox minus 164. The pitching matchup is Nathan Eovaldi against John Means. Both pitchers are coming off bad springs and both had above 6 ERAs. Not a great sign for the underplay. Last year, Eovaldi was 3-0 in 3 starts with a .95 ERA against Baltimore. That was last year, but still very good numbers against Baltimore. Means only pitched 1 game against Boston last year and gave up 3 runs in 3 innings pitched. Boston was not a good team last year, so I'm not going to base my bet off 1 game that this guy pitched against the Sox last year. But having said that, to only get 3 innings out of him and give up 3 runs against a depleted Boston lineup last year is not promising for John Means. I really like the way Bobby Dalbec has been swinging the bat this spring. He's swinging sub 300 average, 7 home runs and 16 RBIs. And against the left-handed pitcher in Means, I think he keeps his spring rolling into the regular season this year. If they put him in the starting lineup, I don't see why they wouldn't. He's going to be the first baseman replacement on this team for a long time to come. So he should be, especially the way that he played this spring, he should be starting in this game. I don't see why Alex Cora would not put him in the lineup card. He'll probably bat around 6th, 7th, or 8th in the lineup, maybe 5th. I don't know how frisky Alex Cora is feeling with Dalbec yet. But I think the play here is over the 9. The over-under is 9. I think the play is over. I don't like the way these pitchers have done so far this spring. I think this could turn into a high-scoring ball game. I also like the Red Sox to cover the spread at minus 1.5 as sort of a hedge play on the over because Eovaldi has had good numbers against Baltimore. And John Means, like I said, it's 1 game. But Baltimore is not a good team. And some would argue that Boston is not a good team. And really the main reason that Boston isn't a good team is the pitching. The lineup card is not bad. I mean, you've got good hitters in there. But the pitching staff is a little lacking in the rotation. And to have no offense to Nathan Eovaldi, but to have Nathan Eovaldi starting your day 1 on opening day is not a good sign for your rotation. He's not the ace. Eduardo Rodriguez is the ace, but regardless, he's the 2nd or 3rd option in that rotation, and I don't think he's that great of a pitcher to be that 1st, 2nd, or 3rd option on any team. So my play is going to be the over of 9 runs and the total runs scored. And I'm going to sort of hedge it, maybe another unit on Red Sox and the spread line. 3rd game of the day, Dodgers and Rockies. Line is Dodgers minus 213, one of the biggest lines of the day just because the Dodgers are defending champs. Over-under is 11. Pitching matchup is Clayton Kershaw versus Jermaine Marquez. Kershaw, having pitched in the NL West his whole career, has some gaudy stats against the Rockies with a 24-8 record and a 3.2 ERA and 41 starts, but holds a 4.5 ERA at Coors Field, which is where this game is located today. It is going to be a nice day in Denver today. I looked up the weather. It's going to be sub 70 degrees in Denver, so that ball could be flying a little bit today if someone gets a hold of it on Kershaw. Kershaw does tend to give up home runs from time to time. Marquez is 2-1 with a 2.5 ERA and 9 starts against the Dodgers in his career. I like those numbers a lot, especially against, what's generally been in Marquez's career, good Dodgers lineups. So I'm intrigued to see this matchup. I'll be watching this game later today. Dodgers lineup is absolutely stacked from top to bottom this year. I mean, literally look at every position. Where's the weak spot? There is not one. This team is absolutely stacked and loaded for another World Series title run. The Rockies lost Arenado, which is one of their best pieces, to the Cardinals, and now rely on Charlie Blackmon and Trevor Story to provide offense for this Rockies team. My play here is I like the Dodgers to win this game, but I think the play is the under of 11 total runs. I think Kershaw and Marquez come out and have decent days on opening day. I think 11 was a little high. I know it's going to be a little bit of a warmer day in Denver than what usually is around this time of year, and we could see the ball fly a little bit. But I like the under of 11 here. I also like the Dodgers to win. I don't like the spread play of 1.5. I think this could be a 1-run ball game, in my opinion. So I'm going to play the under of 11 in this game. Last up, Nationals host the Mets. The Mets are -162 on the line. The over-under is 6.5. Jacob deGrom is going against Max Scherzer in this game. deGrom is 8-4 with a 2.6 ERA and 20 starts against the against the Nationals. And Scherzer is 12-5 with a 2.7 ERA over 24 starts against the Mets. Those are very good numbers for both pitchers against either team. Scherzer has his worst months ERA-wise in the first two, and deGrom is the same way, though. That's something to be noteworthy of. These pitchers have their best months in the middle and the end of the season. They have their worst months in the beginning of the season, the first month or two. It is the first month or two in the season. So I could definitely see some runs being scored on these aces. These guys are aces. They're potential Cy Young Award winners every season they step on the mound. So, I mean, this is my play here is not a hard lock by any means, but I like the Mets to win this game. And my play is the over of the 6.5 total runs. I just think because of the struggle that these pitchers both have number wise in the first 2 months of the season, I think that could spell for a little more than 6.5 runs to me. If any lineup can give deGrom trouble in their own division, it's going to be the Nationals. In the same way with the Mets. The Mets have a reconfigured lineup with Francisco Lindor, and I mean, their list goes on and on too. They've got a really good team. They added James McCann in the offseason, an ex-Razorback who swung the bat very well last year. We'll see if he can keep that up this year. I hope so. He's one of my favorite players. But yeah, that's it for me on baseball today, on what I'm going to bet myself. I told you I would touch base on a few NBA games just to give you a look at some of the games today. Let me get to that. So 76ers and Cavaliers, the line is at 9. I really like the 76ers in that game. They just came off a loss to the Nuggets. They are going to still be without Embiid. But I like the 76ers to cover that 9 there. The other game I liked was the Nuggets and Clippers tonight. If Paul George does not play, I love the Denver and the 1.5 that they are giving Denver tonight. I love that play. If Paul George plays, I'm not going to touch that game with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, the Nets and Hornets play also. That was another line I liked. It was 3.5 in favor of the Nets. I like the Nets to cover that line. They say, just like we talked about, they do not cover these double digits, big spreads. But when they get the smaller spreads at like 3.5, 2.5, 4.5, 5.5, they tend to cover those all the time. And they're good against the spread when they face spread numbers like that. So I like Brooklyn to cover this 3.5. But that'll be it for me. please take time today. I know most people are working today throughout the day, but take time when you get off work if you're a baseball fan and watch a game. Doesn't matter if it's your team or not. Just sit down, watch a baseball game, be American, drink a beer, eat some food, eat a hot dog, hell, and watch a baseball game today. They're going to be on all day on national TV. It's easy to watch, but just take some time out of your day. You don't even have to gamble it. Just take some time, sit down, and watch a game, and have a beer, have some fun. But that'll be it for me. I'm going to be watching baseball all day long. I'm super pumped about it. The Red Sox play early, so I don't have to worry about them playing in the late game. I got some stuff I got to do a little bit later, so glad they're not doing that. But I really appreciate y'all listening, man. We will be back at it tomorrow with some more baseball, and we'll bring back some NBA action tomorrow. I don't really want to get too heavy into NBA just because I love baseball so much in this opening day. But we'll be back at it tomorrow, so I will see y'all then. Have a good Thursday. See y'all later.